Welcome to Energy is Currency, the Millennial Development Podcast devoted to helping you mind your business, personally, and professionally. My name is Alexis Williams, and I am your marketing consultant, idea generator, and full-time philosopher. Entrepreneurship is all about it, whatever it may be. Subscribe to Spotify, Apple, Android, iPod Radio to listen to every episode. Season 1 is available on all streaming platforms. Hey y'all, this might be one of my favorite episodes. We are doing something new here, very international, very global, very worldwide with Energy is Currency. We are sitting down today with Alan Yeo with the Digital Solopreneur brand. He is going to have such a fun conversation about what Energy is Currency really means, but from an international perspective. So, if you can't hear it in my voice, I am extremely excited because I think his energy is just so amazing and so warm. So I'm gonna turn over the space for him and segue us. Tell us everything about you. What do we need to know about Alan?
Hey, Alexis. So wonderful to be here, and I love the energy. So it's wonderful, yeah, and perfect for the pod, right? So I'm Alan. Well, hello everyone, and yeah. So basically, I'm with the brand Digital Solopreneur, and that's very literal in some cases. I help solo coaches basically turn their expertise into scalable digital products, essentially helping them make a living teaching what they know. And this is very important for me because growing up, entrepreneurship, we came from a very entrepreneurial family. And but it's a small mom and pop store. And so when somebody goes on vacation, somebody has always has to stay behind. If
Right.
there's somebody hospitalized, not everyone can visit. It's always incomplete, right?
Yeah.
And I came to think like, are we here to are we here to support the business, or is the business here to support us? Because it seems like we can't let go of it, but everyone is disposable, And
Right.
I was thinking, hey, right, and I was thinking, and that's when I kind of explored online. And coming from a developing country, like a third world country, for us, our biggest exports are actually manpower. Like 10% of our population are scattered across the world. And it's possible because we're an English speaking country and we are highly skilled. So education for me is super important because for us it's not just about being smart, it's really a pathway for growth.
Oh,
So
I love
so yeah,
that.
that's why I came into the education space because I love learning. Also, I can see like the opportunities, the pathways that learning and knowledge can give people, right? So,
Yeah.
and yeah, that's why I have a business helping people unlock that knowledge and help others grow their lives with it.
So I'm a marketing professor, and one thing I love to drive home to my students is you will always have access to wealth through education.
Mm,
You will always have
right,
access through wealth through education. You will. The more you know, the more opportunities to make money that you'll have. And I don't think my students really understand that, but learning a skill or getting your degree or building a business, whatever you committing your education to, you will be able to tap into that in so many financial ways. Like
right.
even being a hairstylist, I've been a hairstylist for over 20 years, and the adventures that I've had as a hairstylist and an educator. I tell people all the time I've been able to do movies and photo shoots and magazines and tours and TV shows and all these brilliant opportunities because of the skill set.
Right.
So it didn't matter what I was doing with the skill set. I needed to have that skill set. So I think it's really important that you're helping people to create educational opportunities for their financial growth. I think that's really, really cool. Like people have to figure out a way of um, of living without having to sell all of their time. Like
Right.
you took me aback when you, because it was one thing to say, oh, if we have a birthday party, someone can't come, or a holiday party, but the gravity of hearing like, what if someone's in the hospital and you can't come?
Right.
That's when I actually had that experience in 2021 during that whole the
Mm-hmm.
COVID years, right? Where I had a family
Right.
member who was super ill, and it between my job and the social political climate, all of that stuff, it made me very inaccessible to someone I love, and that
Mm-hmm.
I had to pivot my businesses as well. At that point, it was like, no, we got to do something different, because what if I
Right.
do need to be somewhere else? How do I manage that? So I love that you've already built the pathway, the structure for that. So tell us more about your business. How can we? What do we do? How do we get into it?
Yeah, it's wonderful. That's a great question. A lot of people. It's what's funny is like when people think, okay, a lot of people are skilled, especially in their jobs, whether it's freelancing, whether it's corporate, right?
Hmm.
You're getting paid to do something
Hmm.
already. And one of the things that people I work with, like they don't want to trade time for money, or at least they want to diversify,
Yeah.
right? And that's what's funny is that's also how with employment in general.
Yeah.
I think with employment in general now, it's not just like getting employed, but people also think of their careers as stock investments. Like they have to diversify different
Yeah.
income
Hmm.
sources, right? So even for folks who are working, they're also eventually, if you work long enough, you get tired and kind of want money to come to you without working for it,
Yeah.
right? So, and what's funny with now, a lot of people are you're in the knowledge economy, right? Like you get paid
I
for
love
your
that.
brains, right? Even athletes, we were talking about off record about athletes, right? Basketball, trades,
Y'all, he
even
has the
athletes
best
right
song.
now. And athletes right now are also into startups, right? Using their
Yeah.
brains early on.
Yes,
So,
yes, yes, yes.
right? And what's funny is a lot of when one of the easiest ways to kind of get that side income is by teaching what you know. And because knowledge is important, even in the age of AI, right?
Yes.
Um, and the thing is, knowledge is important. Also, people are willing to invest in knowledge. And what's funny is a lot of the things that you need, you don't have to create. Like for example, you're in the hairdresser, right? You have that experience. You probably also have that knowledge
Mm-hmm.
somehow documented in paper,
Yeah.
maybe in videos, in tutorials.
Yeah.
A lot of them are in your hard drive, maybe in Google Drive, in the cloud. What we don't realize is that a lot of things that are gathering digital dust, people are willing to pay for,
Oh, I
right?
love
So,
that.
right? So, I
Yes.
had a subscriber who I sent out this emails telling them that hey, your product might be just hiding in your hard drive, and he looked at his hard drive literally, and he writes emails in the e-commerce industry, and what he did was hey, he saw a lot of the emails he wrote for his clients, and he just bundled them like e-com emails and sold it for aspiring email copywriters, and he made around 2 grand, 2 grand just from old files. He just bundled them and
But
posted on social media.
I
Right.
love that. Oh my goodness, I feel so inspired just hearing that, because you don't realize how much of a wealth of knowledge you already are, but you just have to have that focus to go back and package it well, so that it's
Right.
something that someone else can digest and implement and integrate into their life. That's awesome. Okay. Okay. I'm still
That's right.
listening. Go ahead.
Yeah. And people underestimate like the value that they have because for you it's normal, right? But what some
Mm,
people realize is if you're freelancing, if you're pitching to a client, and you close, like, for example, a $5,000 deal, hey, that people are willing to look at that pitch you just sent.
Yeah,
Right? So that's a
they are.
$5,000 pitch, right? You can break it down, and for you, it's just something you did before, but for people starting up, hey, I would love to see that, right?
You're right. Right.
And now with the beauty of AI, right? You can upload that document, that pitch, have AI analyze it, create a GPT out of it so that other students can use your format for their own pitches, right?
Yes.
So you can sell that GPT for like $10 and sell like 100 of them, for example, right? So there's that opportunity here, right? And yeah, it's those things where it's small products but gives you tangible results,
Yeah.
and all of these will ultimately build your brand, like Alexis gives so wonderful advice on this topic. And then that there's where opportunity comes in. Hey, I love your GPT about this. Maybe 5% of people who buys a low ticket offer would ask you for one-on-one work, right? And you can
Right.
charge a couple of grand for that, right? So, and that's how it can start rolling, even if you have a small audience. So, and a lot of this is you can do trial and error, right? I'm a big fan of pre-sell. So a lot of my products, I kind of write what it is,
Mm-hmm.
DM people what it can do for them. If I get enough buyers, I collect payments first, then I create a product.
Okay.
Right? So that's like a conservative way of like um, launching a product, making sure people are willing to pay for it first before spending so much time building it.
I love how you're able to make the process so simple and straightforward, right?
Mhm.
Let me ask you this. What do you think are some of the mental roadblocks that people need to address in order to show up fully for something like this? Because this is it's inspiring, right? It sounds like, oh, I'm already good at something. Let me do this. But there are still people who are hesitant about it. So what are some of the
Right.
roadblocks that people need to address while they're creating their expertise?
That's a beautiful question, because the roadblock, a lot of it is, am I worth it? Like, am I, is
Mm,
right? Is it, are things that I've done, some, are people actually willing to pay for that? Because
mm,
for them, like, I only, people will only pay for brand name A, like personal brand A, personal brand B, and I'm not those people, right? I don't have a following, I don't have branding. But ultimately, the way I look at offers, because in the marketing world, right, there's funnels, there's upsell one, upsell two, downsell,
right.
right? And it feels greedy. It feels greedy. But there's this one experience I had that kind of flipped my mind about it. So I had a subscription on, so I had a subscription community before on email marketing for entrepreneurs. Then that, I was only offering that, not offering any high ticket one-on-one
Mm-hmm.
offers, because my thought was nobody's gonna pay me for those one-on-one sessions. Lo
Mm-hmm.
and behold, like a couple of years later, um, a friend of mine who was also one of my subscribers for my community reached out to me. I decided to try out a one-on-one session. Then she was telling me that she actually enrolled in a couple of sessions already. One group session worth almost $2,000, and another one-on-one which is worth more, let's say 3 grand.
Mm-hmm.
And she was still, she wanted to work with me because yes, she got value from there, but she was still looking for more. And
Mm-hmm.
here I am thinking that nobody's willing to pay me for one-on-one. All along, she was already in my community. It was me who did not offer the help she wanted. Right? That's the type of, she
Ooh.
wanted a one-on, a more intimate type of help, but I never offered it. Now she went roundabout, got it from somebody else, but wasn't really satisfied, and came back to me. So I was thinking I could have saved her like around 5 grand by just offering my
five
own offer,
thousand
right?
dollars.
So
But
so
that
I
could
was
have been
thinking,
your $5,000, right?
right, and I w- even then I was thinking, okay, so offering higher ticket offers isn't really about greed. It's really just offering the help that they need, the type of help they need,
Yeah,
right? And our role is not necessarily to kind of, I need to have a high ticket offer, but it's more of, hey, my role here is to offer this type of help.
yeah,
So it's not really me getting more people there, it's just making it available, right? Because we never know who needs that, right?
yeah,
So, right, and so I wanted to tie it back with your question about that self, like people having that self-worth issues.
yeah,
So it's really about, not really about having a brand, only people with brands who can offer products, because products are a type of help.
yeah,
So anyone can offer help, right? So that's why I encourage people to maybe start out with people that you know. Just reach out like, hey Brad, like I'm coming up with this offer where it helps people, for example, set up a website in 24 hours, right? Would it could, if you're still really shy, you could just ask, would you know anyone who would be interested? It's not even a direct pitch,
oh,
right?
I like that.
But right, but Brad himself, ooh, I like that. Or they
Right.
might know somebody who will, right? So we just do that for 100 people. Maybe 95 of them will say no. Maybe 70 of them would ghost you. 25 would say no, maybe next time. But once you get those five who would say yes, right, then you have a validated offer,
Yeah,
right? And that's really how business conversion rates are really like 1 to 3%. So it's really, all the winners you see are actually some of the biggest losers, right?
yes,
If
yes,
they, right? So, um, but for people starting out with selling products, um, it feels like any sort of rejection is like, uh, invalidates whatever dreams they have. But in
yeah.
reality, like Amazon doesn't have like a 50% conversion rate. Like,
No,
for the millions and millions of people who visit there, they would convert 10% is like godsend, right? So even then, they get rejected 95%. Like people bounce.
I
And
had
that's something that we have to get used to.
yes. So I had a business, one of my business clients a few years back. We really had to have a serious conversation about that because they were
Hmm.
doing a lot of email campaigns. And
Right.
the conversation was they wanted more repeat customers for the classes they were offering and, to keep them engaged for, more offerings and whatnot, but the communication. So I was like, well, diversify the communication. Do text messages, do social media, do emails, do blogs about it, communicate across the board. That way, however they absorb their information, at least it's been presented. But also be okay with the fact that you're only going to get a small percentage of
Yeah.
turnover or conversion from that outreach that you're doing, that outbound communication. And so it
Right.
would just, oh my goodness, it would just fry my eggs when we would be in classes together, and they would say, because y'all don't read, or you didn't read the emails, or y'all didn't do this. And I'm like, wait, there's two different groups right now. The people you're mad at is the 98% of the people who won't show up. That's normal.
Mm.
The
Right.
people that you need to be grateful for are the two people who made it here, the 2% that made it here. But I think in our quest, in the task, the performance of the task of outbound communication, that attachment to outcome, needing
Right.
everybody that you communicated with to reply and reciprocate and
Hmm.
balance immediately, creates a false sense of reality. It does.
Right.
And
Right.
really emphasizing, like, hey, you only need your 2%. You only need your
Hmm.
8% of people to reply. But the trick to this, the reason why Amazon is still Amazon, is because Amazon saturates the market with so much communication that they've reached 3 billion people. So
Hmm.
3% of that is ginormous.
That's right. That's
It's a
right.
huge
That's
number,
right.
but if you've only reached out to 10 people, 2% of that is probably only going to be two people. So
Yeah.
just being realistic on what your scale is and who is showing up for you and who isn't, and really having a balanced view of that, that takes people in and out of business. I've seen a lot of making and breaking in that moment where they don't understand that specific dynamic. So I'm glad we were able to touch on that. And there was another thing that you mentioned that brought me to the singular phrase of courage. You
Hmm.
need courage to reach out. You need courage to ask 10
Right.
people or 1,000 people or 10 million people. It takes courage. And sometimes courage can feel very delusional, very, what am I even doing here?
Right.
And to your point,
Right.
am I worth this? Yes, you are. You
Uh-huh.
have to be delusional enough to believe that you are. Somebody has to see that worth. And if it's anybody, it should be you. The first person has to be you.
Yeah.
So I
And
love that. Go ahead.
then, yeah. And you know what? Like with belief, that's why when we talk about hard drive, like things that you succeeded in the past, that should also validate yourself, right? Because you're not talking in theory.
Mm-hmm.
Like these things has worked for me, and
Yes.
that's one approach. Like you're not saying that I'm the guru of this. Hey, what I'm going to teach you are things that has worked for me, and
Mm-hmm.
maybe it would work for you,
Yep.
right? So that way, there's that you're anchored in proof, not just hearsay. Like
Mm.
you're not just regurgitating
Ain't
books
it?
you've read, right, or
But
podcasts you heard.
can we
It's
just
anchored in proof.
marinate in the phrase anchored in proof for a moment?
Hmm.
I think a lot of
Yeah.
people spend time in procrastination and fear
Hmm.
and imposter syndrome, and all of
Right.
these headspaces that are very valid headspaces to experience. But I am absolutely going to add this phrase to like one of my affirmations of being anchored in proof. I've completed this before. To your point, you don't have to be the guru of it, but if
Hmm.
but a lot of people struggle with even completion.
Right.
Before they get to excellence, they struggle with even the first round. So the concept of anchoring yourself in your own proof of your existence is just such a beautiful phrase. Oh my goodness. So, ah, I want to get that tattooed somewhere. Next time we interview, you'll see it tattooed somewhere.
Yeah. And you know what? I'm a big believer in like the world is a noisy place, right?
Yes.
And like people can claim everything in the world, and that's why a lot of people get scammed. So that's why I'm a big believer in show not tell, right? Show don't tell, and it's I think that connects much better with folks. Like recently, I had this. So we do pitches for podcasts, to appear to expand our brand as well. So I showed this. Uh, I had this one pitch before. I had a call middle of the night. Then there's this application for a podcast, and he had several questions, right? Then it was late. I couldn't write anymore, so I just turned on Zoom. I just filmed my response,
Okay.
and it was yeah it was a business slash photography website. She was a previous photographer who's into business, so I also grabbed some proof. Like I used to be a hobbyist photographer, so I had some minor awards. So I showed her like our overlap and stuff. And so yeah, that show don't tell. And also I also showed the recording to like my community,
Hmm.
talking about thinking outside the box or doing what it takes to get what you want, rather than just preaching about it. Like I showed them, because in the video I flashed my phone
Hmm.
showing like it was 2:34 a.m. So that creates that's a visual, that's an experience that's more resonating, because I'm showing them that I'm pushing the boundaries,
Yeah.
right, rather than just preaching from an ivory tower.
Mm.
So, and I feel like now with personal branding, a lot of it is also the culture that you set and who you are. Because for me, I focus more on solopreneurs, and I'm for people who wants to build a big brand, a giant business. I'm not the person to follow. People who
Oh, I like
kind
that.
of follow my path are those, what they say is, hey, I like to be top of mind without being noisy. So those are the types of people that resonate with my message. So, but that message also repels certain people, and you have to be comfortable with that because you kind of attract who you are,
Yes.
and so that's kind of the aura, and you have to be comfortable with that.
Yeah.
And for me, I'm also I took up accountancy, so I'm typically the guy in the corner who's just doing my numbers.
Mm-hmm.
But over time, especially as a dad now, I have a 10-year-old, and it made me realize that you have to be comfortable in your own skin, in the sense that you have to show that to your kid as well,
Mm-hmm.
right? Understanding who you are and you're okay with that.
Yeah.
So, and that comes with experience and reps as well. So it's not gonna happen overnight. But the question of self-worth, of is it worthy enough, I realize that for folks in my community who ask that, I tell them that it's not actually your job to answer that. Your
Ooh.
job is only to present the offer.
I
Whether it's worth it or not is determined by the cash coming into your account, right?
right.
So, right, and even if it's a no, the no is not you. The no is the offer. So maybe it's this set of templates didn't work. Maybe a set of videos. Maybe when you break down emails, maybe that works. Right?
Yeah.
So it's really just a matter of, a no is a no to the offer, but not you as a person. So, and that has to come from you being comfortable with yourself as well, right? But the question of worth isn't really something you answer. Like, you're worthy by itself, but what you're question asking is this offer worthy? And that your role is to offer it. It's them paying you. They will be the one to tell you if it's worthy or not.
And I think a lot of people take the concept of worth, which is a numerical phrase, right? Worth
Mm-hmm.
is about numbers, right?
Right.
If you look at
Right.
the stock market, the price of the stock at the time is what society values it's we believe is worth this price right now. And that's constantly going
Mm-hmm.
to fluctuate,
That's right.
especially here in the US. The stock market is going to fluctuate every 10 seconds, right?
Mhm.
But the product is always going to remain the product. How it's
Mhm.
perceived and accepted and digested,
Right.
and that is fluctuating. To
That's
your
right.
point, you made a beautiful point earlier when you said it's not about the worth isn't your responsibility. The
Right.
action is, the task of
Right.
it is. And
Right.
I appreciate your confidence. You have so much confidence. And I completely understand why you have confidence. And it's because you're anchored in proof. You have so much proof that there's no need to distrust yourself. You have the proof. You know what I mean? You were there when it happened. Look, we have videos, you know? So I
Right.
think I love the idea of creating opportunities for yourself to see, to create more proof so that you can see that the job is the the worth, the behavior is built into the activities and not just in the, I guess, the determination of it, you know, because that's always going to fluctuate, you know, and depending on
Mm-hmm.
I always see this kind of video or meme or this discussion float around that different things are going to be worth different things in different rooms. Like a bottle of water
Mm-hmm.
at a baseball game might be three or
You're
four
right.
dollars, or at a basketball game is $3 or $4, but at the airport it might be $9. You know, at a water
Mm-hmm.
park it might be
Mm-hmm.
this. At the grocery store,
Right.
you might be able to get a ton of water for a small price, but it's all determined around the environment. So definitely create your proof, but also be very intentional on your environment. Make sure that you're surrounding yourself with people and the audience that values and feels aligned with what you have going on, because that's when the worth will match. I think,
Right.
that's kind of hard for people to understand when they're first starting out, because you just need somebody to listen. I need a heartbeat a wallet in years. I need it, right?
Right,
But the
right.
more refined and the more proof you've created, you're like, no, I am worth this. So let me get around
Hmm.
people who value that. And
Right,
that helps
right.
to transition to that high ticket, that serious high ticket lifestyle and not just the
Right.
offer. Now you've built a lifestyle around it. What were your thoughts? I'm sorry.
Yeah, yeah. I love what you said about environment. Right. So I think there's this one example where world class musician. He was playing music in the subway in New York, and
Mm-hmm.
nobody was noticing him. But that same night, I think he played in Carnegie Mellon, and
Mm-hmm.
like people would pay thousands to hear the same exact song he was
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
playing in the subway. And that's to your point about energy, right? With offers like these, um, we also value, for us, a lot of it is about maximizing lifetime value. And sometimes lifetime value can be seen as squeezing every dollar out of the person. But I look at it a bit differently, which is in line with what we talked about earlier about helping. Right? It's really what I like about LTV, lifetime value, is yes, of course, increasing the revenue per customer is always good for the business, but also it challenges me to be better. What do I mean by that?
Mm-hmm.
Right? Because nobody's gonna buy from you again if what they bought first is crappy. So
Oh,
if you have a mindset of right lifetime value, then it challenges you to over deliver, to nurture them, to take care of them, to treat them more than just a number, right?
yes.
So
Yes.
and that's also how you can, to your point about building a business beyond just an offer, right?
Yeah.
Um, it's hey, I help you with this. Would you like me to help you with this more? One-on-one group calls, how in different mediums in with higher prices that reflects the value. Then you don't necessarily have to have a lot of customers to make
Right.
a happy living, right? I had the privilege to have customers from. I remember I have this one current client. She's still young. Now she's in her mid 20s. We were working together when she was early 20s, and I remember we were reminiscing the other day. When she first joined my community, what I would do then was call them, not through data, but I was directly calling their cell phones. So
Okay.
when I called her, just welcoming her to my community, and she was wondering who is this. Then she was surprised that I like the product owner is actually calling her, like the community.
Yeah.
And so until now we're working together. So and that's one of my proudest moments with the business. Like I have folks who for her she's in her mid 20s. I also have clients who are already retired in their 70s, who are grandmothers. And we've been working together for a long time. And it's it's like building that relationship. It goes beyond just lifetime value. They also have some of the best deals that I offer for
Yeah.
loyalty, right?
Right.
Um, and it's for me like a lot of it is with lifetime value. It's funny because what I realize is it also has we can be rigid with like marketing with pricing, right? Like this is
Mhm.
the term. These are the terms. I recently had a client who has been with me for 6 months. For example, she's paying me $250 per month to be part of my community,
Mhm.
and I offered her an annual rate for this year, but she she was about to decline because apparently her partner is going through a medical condition, so she
Oh,
needed the money.
yeah.
So we talked about it, and it offered her, "Hey, how about this for this month? Don't pay me anything. I'll consult you because she's into podcasting. I'll consult you instead." So kind of we have a exchange, like an X
Yeah.
deal. Then she said, "Okay, if I can we do this?" It said, "If I commit for 6 months, but I pay for 5 months, January is we'll just have that exchange, but I'll continue for the next 5 months." I'm good with that. So it's really just being flexible. Okay, let's strike a deal.
Yes.
And in reality, if you were so rigid, then you cancel, you lose 5 more months of 250 per month. That's 1,250, right? So it's just being understanding, attracting the right people in your audience, and can, of course, it's I'm not saying that that's the hard rule, but you kind of have to know who you're working with and
Definitely.
be open with how to create those deals,
My
right? So yeah, go ahead. Sorry.
my favorite book is called The Richest Man in Babylon. Have you read that book before or heard
Mm,
of it?
I,
So
I have, yeah.
I love the book because it talks about three types of people to work with and who to
Mm-hmm.
employ or do deals with. And I'll just put them out briefly. There's three types of people. One person that doesn't have anything and doesn't know how to work. One person
Mm-hmm.
knows how to work but may not have any collateral. And the other person may have
Mm-hmm.
collateral. And the best person to work with is someone who has something to lose and know how to earn it again, right? But it's
Mm.
when you're building your community, fleshing out those four personalities and figuring out what type of
Right.
person are you with. But the person who has the exchange, like that make you can always because the idea is that there has to be a transaction. Okay.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
There does.
That's right.
But it doesn't always have to be so rigidly financial if there are other gifts and other talents and other things to be bartered or shared. So I love that y'all were
Right.
able to do that. I do that a lot with my business. I have clients where I really do work with them. Um,
Mm-hmm.
you mentioned a lot of excellent points, man. This has been such a good combo. But you made a point earlier about always being willing to go a little bit harder for your business or to outdo yourself each
Mm-hmm.
year. And so how I've implemented that by I raise my prices by a consistent percentage every year. My clients know
Mm-hmm.
around February, late January, February, they'll get that hey girl email, these are the prices for this year. However, the exchange is every year I implement something new into the business. So whether it's a
Mm-hmm.
bigger space, more amenities, more time, diverse services, the products we use, the tools we use, the education, but having that commitment to that type of exchange, I'm going to raise the prices because I'm going to raise the quality, has
Mm-hmm.
always kept me ahead of where I needed to be with my business. So I love that you're making that a focal point because in order to have a lifetime client, I have clients that I've had for 16 years, 17 years. I've been in Georgia.
Wow.
I'm originally from Missouri. I moved in 2009 to Georgia. It's
Mm-hmm.
2026, so that's 17 years. I have clients that I have 17-year relationships with. And it's because they saw me working in the mall in Savannah in
Mm-hmm.
2009 to now I'm a clinical trichologist in my own clinical space in
It's
Atlanta.
wonderful.
So they've watched me grow over the years. But each year, my commitment has been to we're going to do something better than we did last year. So I
It's
love
wonderful.
that commitment to having a lifetime, the lifetime value and having a really strong relationship with your customers. You may not. I literally had this conversation this morning with my nail stylist. We were chatting, and she said that she wants to get to a point where she doesn't take any more new clients. And I said, that's excellent, but you have to learn how to build and maintain that relationship with the people that you have. Like the goal is to have people where it feels like a routine and you can
Right.
focus on finding those opportunities and those great moments and things like that with them. But the goal is to maintain that relationship with them. So I think that's so cool. I really do. I think that's so cool.
Yeah. And that's
I
something AI can take away. You know, it's
Right?
something that, right? It's something that connection is something people. It's hard to find. You know.
Do you feel
I
like
was lucky that. Sorry.
it's one of those
You're-
things that either you have it or you don't have it? Like
I
it's
think
just in
everyone.
you, or do you think it could be taught?
I think everyone has compassion, right? It's hard to. You have different ways of expressing it.
Mm,
Um, right. We have different ways of expressing it. And yes, there are folks who would. And here's what I say. We tend to attract who we are. So,
mm,
right. So if you kind of are a low maintenance quiet person, you would attract similar people
Yeah.
who would maybe be lower maintenance as well, who would prefer you don't check in with them, and but they'll reach out to you when they need it. And
Yeah.
that's kind of, and what's funny is like that's also something that we communicate in our community, where the first thing we do is world building,
Mm.
meaning like, you know, when in business, like it's always like the target market who we want to attract. It's all about, always about them. Also realize that, hey, he can attract a lot of people, but he can also attract a lot of people you don't want.
Right.
So part of the things that um, I put out there are things that some of my non-negotiables, right? So
Mm.
when I post about my non-negotiables, like
Yeah.
for example, I would say, for example, on Zoom calls, I would typically tell people that, hey, I hope you understand. Whenever, if ever my phone rings during the call and I see it's from my family, I'll pick it up, right? Because I don't know if it's an emergency, right? So I can't text them back that I'll call them back later if it's an emergency, right? So, and that's something that I communicate, and people who would respect that, I'm sure not a lot of people would like that, but those who will stick with you because they have the same values,
Yeah.
right? And ultimately, the care that they people you attract would like your energy and kind of, so even if it's somebody who's quieter, they would typically attract the same type of people who would probably be prefer not to, maybe not to talk on a call but maybe exchange emails, right?
Yeah.
So, right, so I feel like there's a lot of, everyone has a capacity to be compassion, maybe different ways of expressing it.
Yeah.
And there's like different love languages, right?
Yes.
Some are more gifts, some are expressive, some are kind words, acts of service. So maybe those people who are not as vocal, maybe they do it through service or through gifts. So I love to look at it that way because I can see that in my wife, I can see that in my daughter, that they have different. It's the way I like to be loved is different from them.
Yeah.
So yeah, I think like not everyone can express it, can be as expressive with their care, but they can do it in their own way.
Yeah. I had the epiphany maybe about a year or so ago because I think the way we were taught or the way I absorbed the love languages, I treated it like a list where one was
Mm.
really important, but the others maybe didn't hold as much value or worth to me. And something, I don't remember what the experience was, but I had a light bulb moment where I said, it's not a list, it's a matrix.
Mm.
They're all interconnected,
Right. Right.
and you may have to tap into any of the five, or some people think there are eight love languages, whichever, however you perceive it, tap into that part of the matrix as necessary. And that way you're not
Mm.
disconnected from, we've been talking a lot about compassion and flexibility, where you don't create this rigid experience of how you provide or receive love because you're overly ranking it instead of,
Mm.
well, they
Right.
loved me with the gift, I have to be loved with words. And it's like, well, that's how they love. They're
Mm.
not, it doesn't mean that they don't love you, but they're learning this is how
Right.
they're providing it. And but despite the fact that you may perceive it. So it stopped
Right.
minimizing it for the others for me, so that I could experience it a little bit more fully and be a little bit more connected to others and see them where they are. To your point, you
Right.
got to meet people where they are sometimes, and see what
Yeah.
where their strong suits are with communication and connection and whatnot. Yeah.
Yeah, and that also goes back to energy, like you don't want to work with people who sap energy away from you, right? And that's where what you put out there you attract. And that one of my criteria for getting clients is I would love to work with people that I would love to have coffee with. So that's kind of, that's
Oh.
written in my like target dream clients. And I literally, good enough, true enough, like I had coffee with my client. In fact, in a couple of days, we'll have a little get together for those based locally. So, and that's kind of my criteria, that like there are folks that when you hang out with them, you really can't wait to get out. So, right, so there's that.
I
So
have,
that's I kind of want to fill my world with people I love to hang out with.
yes. So I really rebuilt my salon business around the vibe, the frequency, the energy.
Mm.
And so when I
Mm.
would do consultations with new clients, it used to be about the service and getting it done and things about that.
Right.
And I pulled back. I had to pull back from
Mm.
that because I wanted to
Yeah.
focus on the service. But what if I didn't like the customer?
Mm-hmm.
And I'm in the service
Mm-hmm.
industry. I'm bringing out the best in you. So I have to enjoy you. It's a must.
Right.
It's mandatory. I can't exist in the gray area. Well, she's the client. I just deal with her. I literally cannot do that. It gives my body so much negative energy. Like to experience a client who we're clashing or is too aggressive or they don't
Mm-hmm.
respect the salon policies and boundaries and things like that, it really creates a negative experience. And guess what? That doesn't just disappear when they go.
Mm-hmm.
They leave all that rotten energy. And then my next client is trying to figure out why I have a bad attitude. But I had an
Right.
attitude because I wasn't in alignment with the client.
Mm-hmm.
I can
Right.
perform whatever hair service you want me to perform, but we must have that sense of alignment. So I
Mm-hmm.
switched my consultations to being a vibe check. What kind of person are you?
Mm.
What kind of lifestyle do you
Mm-hmm.
live? What are your current
Mm-hmm.
maintenance behaviors? What are your current service behaviors?
Right.
What how frequent do you like to receive services? And based upon that, I'll let them know, well, I may not be the person for you, but however, comma, I would like to
Mm-hmm.
introduce you to someone who might be within your frequency. And that may be
Right.
a price thing, that may be a personality thing or a timing thing. You
Right.
know, some people don't, I have a very limited schedule to only make space for people I enjoy so that it
Mm-hmm.
weeds out people who need too much of me or are draining to my
Right.
energy. So,
Right.
but that took time. I've been in business. I've been a hairstylist for 20 years, and then I've been in the salon business for about 12 years. And I don't think I had that epiphany until about maybe 2 years ago.
Mm-hmm. Right. Right. Right.
We had
Yeah. I mean, we get
several
it.
decades, and it only took about
Right.
2 4 months to figure that out, So, really
Yeah.
zeroing in, and that's how you kind of mitigate that worth conversation because the right
Mm.
people value what you do. They think it's worth it.
Right.
And that way,
Right.
a lot of my
Right.
clients, we don't have a conversation about money, maybe in pre planning, but there's never a question of, oh, this is too expensive, or oh, I didn't know it was going to be this price, or this is too much. We don't have that conversation because they value me
Mm-hmm.
and
Mm-hmm.
I
Right.
value
Right.
them. That's at the core, the foundation of everything we do. So,
That's right.
really focusing on, I love the idea of picking people who you would like to have coffee with. That is such a great
Right.
way to approach it. It's so endearing because it's saying, I would want to
Right.
connect with you beyond this business. I genuinely
Right.
want to, just connect with you. So, yeah, I think that's
Yeah.
important for sure. For sure, for sure.
Yeah.
For sure, for
Yeah.
sure.
It it's something that like for me, I'm typically the reason I got into email marketing. That's kind of how I got started
Hmm.
before doing like digital products is because I'm typically the one who doesn't really speak up in a group. But
Hmm.
I had this mindset that just because I don't say much doesn't mean I don't have anything to say. And emails is kind of my way of talking to a lot of people without
Hmm.
getting in touch with people. So with keeping my distance, but hey, I just want you to know that I have my own thoughts. But um yeah, and also like and I that's why I love like having some of my best memories are really just having long conversations with friends one on one, or at most I would do three. It's kind of enough time, to have proper discussion.
Yes.
And after those conversations, I feel like my soul is filled.
Yeah.
And that's why I kind of like to, even for me, like I like to grow my business. I have my target income, but I'm consciously keeping the business small in the sense like it's me, my sister, and we also have one team member because um that's I don't like the complexity of like big team. We came from a trading business. Of course, doing business locally is different from the US. Like there's inefficiencies here, there's corruption, yada yada. I kind of want to deal
It's
with those things.
everywhere.
It's everywhere, yeah, and yeah, it kind of want things to be a bit simpler.
Yes.
So it goes back again to energy,
Yep.
because um, one of the things that I'm working around the bit, going back to the purpose of the business should support life rather than the other way around. 2025 was a bit of a challenging year, from personally and a lot of my circle as well, in the education space. But then again, um, one of the things that 2025 as well was one of the richest years for me in terms of experience. Also got in better shape this year, and next week I'm gonna be starting some jujitsu classes
Oh,
because my
fun.
daughter's yeah get turning 10. I need to protect her from boys. um, so starting to sh- I really it's more for you're protecting the family, right? So
Yeah.
I mean I'm going to the gym, but like what use is your strength if like you can't battle, right? If somebody
Yeah.
confronts you, then are you gonna just like there's no point, right? So I might
They're
as well not have
confronting you
gone
and
to the
you're
gym.
doing like arm bicep curls and it's like,
Yeah,
no,
I can't do that,
bicep
right?
curls right now.
So I want to be more useful. So and I was thinking, hey, if I'm gonna fit that 2 lessons a week, then the business should adjust to that because that's life,
Yes.
right? So
Yes, I agree.
I'm adjusting my business to be super focused. That's why I have like whiteboards here to okay, let's design adjust the business in a way that it can run. One of the goals there is really to have like the sales to be founder independent. Like it can be taken away from the sales process. So so yeah, and that's kind of one of the things that perhaps I'm proud of with the start of the year is okay. So this is a new experience for me. I regret. Well, I like working alone, and with jujitsu, you're forced to kind of wrestle with somebody, So it's kind of out of my comfort zone. But I thought like I if some knock on wood, if something happens and I wasn't able to defend my family, it's gonna eat me up just because I didn't want to exchange sweat with some random dude. So I'd rather I'd rather experience that,
Yes.
and
Because you may not have
experience
a
that.
the kidnapper may not be powdery, powdery dry.
Yeah, it's training me for the confrontation, right?
Yes,
So,
the real
um,
confrontation.
I mean, of course, worst case, I hope I never use it,
Yes.
right?
Yes, yes, yes.
But if it does, and just because I didn't want to do that, it's gonna eat up at me. So anyway, so just like an example of like how I want the business to fit
I
life
love
rather
that.
than right, rather than the other way around.
I love that. You definitely have to make space, especially in entrepreneurship, because you're the only one defining the boundaries of what
Yeah.
your work day versus personal day, what your time off looks like. You have to find things that give you more dopamine and more joy than just working, and that
Yeah.
requires very intentional, self-disciplined, self-assured effort. It really, really does. So I
Hmm.
look forward to all of your jujitsu accomplishments, because the real battle is in the mind. You know what I mean?
Hmm.
So I think
Hmm.
this is going to be really fun for you. But I love that, one, you're prioritizing your health. One, your priority is still towards your family, which I think is so admirable. And also, you are adjusting your business so that you can honor your priorities. I don't think a lot of business owners learn that on the wrong side of things, especially in the
Right.
cosmetology industry, where I know I grew up around so many hairstylists that made six figures every year, but they don't know a thing about their children. They have missed all
Mm,
the soccer games. Now, their children, all of their education is paid for, and they never went without, always had the best of everything. But the conversations with the kids only last like 3 or 4 minutes because you never sit still long
mm,
enough to get to know them. And it's like, well,
right.
are they a priority
Mm-hmm.
if you're so
Right.
disconnected?
Right.
Do you treat it like a priority? And then that brings up the love language matrix because very much so in their belief system, the answer is yes. But are they fully maximizing their love opportunities with them? The answer is probably no.
Mm,
So I love that
right.
you're already building your business around that, so that you can still experience your very beautiful family. So I
Yeah.
think that's
And
awesome.
thank you.
So where
Yeah.
can we
And
learn more? Um, where can we learn more about your business? How can we join the community? Where can we find you on social
yeah.
media? Because we have to stay in touch. We need to learn more about what Alan is up to.
Definitely. Yeah, as I mentioned, I'm an email guy, so I share my thoughts through my newsletter, especially tips on building your digital product business. So you can check it out at digitalsolopreneur.com/Alexis. So you remember, easy to remember. So yeah, definitely. I'm also on LinkedIn, so you can find me there, Alan Yeo. And yeah, let's continue the conversation there. And thank you very much for the time. I love your energy. I love the conversation, and
This
thank
has
you very
been
much for all the thoughtful questions.
amazing. Thank you. This has been really amazing. I'm really grateful that we had the opportunity to speak. For sure, for sure. Um, this has been awesome. We could really sit here for hours and hours, but we have got to get you to bed. So to check out this episode and all the rest of the episodes of Energy is Currency, just visit either blushbizonline.com or you can listen to this episode wherever you podcast. But remember, your energy is your currency, and I hope you make the most of it. So thanks again for joining us, Alan, and we look forward to hopefully another meet. We can chat again.
Likewise, can't wait to have coffee with you.
That's so cool. Okay, I'm gonna stop it here. Before we wrap up, I want to tell you about Alan's newsletter. If you love this conversation about building a sustainable business without the burnout, you need to be on his list. You'll get daily insights on turning your expertise into a thriving one person business, actionable, no fluff strategies for building calm, profitable businesses that serve your life instead of consuming it. No hustle culture. No guru nonsense. Just practical advice you can actually use. Head to digitalsolopreneur.com/Alexis to join. That's digitalsolopreneur.com/Alexis.